Hello there, and welcome back to the Brightworks. Now, I just heard about this recently, but apparently, All That Glitters has received an update. Now, I couldn't believe it at first. All That Glitters, of course, an iconic map, a feared map, a hated map, a map of rich story and history, very passion-filled map. Apparently, it's gotten a bit of a touch-up. Now we're here, the yellow player for the red team, spawning in the northern side of the map here, was kind enough to send me a replay of a game that he played recently on this map. And so today we're going to be taking a look at All That Glitters version 1.2. Or 2.0, I forget, is it 2.0? We better check that. 2.0 instead of 1.2, my bad. All That Glitters version 2.0. Now the first thing I notice immediately is that there's these rocks lying all over the place, these golden rocks, and there's a lot of metal tied up, and that was interesting. We'll have to see how that plays into this game here. We'll get this underway. This is a rather long game, so we'll probably have to skip through a little bit of here. But we will keep the early game intact for the most part to see if anybody gets away with any cheeky early game shenanigans. So what's different on this map? Well, one thing I noticed is that the color is different. This was a much more red and Martian looking surface on the version 1.0 of this map. Now it looks a bit more sandy, almost like a riverbed might look. Also, the mountains look a little bit different. They've got some flatter spots on the top of them, so I wonder if that's to encourage building on top of those mountains a little more, or maybe it's just the textural definition changing makes them look a little bit more open, a little bit flatter. Either way, I think it looks very good. And of course, in this middle section, we also have these tiny little hills that you can contest around, sort of use as line of sight blockers and that sort of thing, which is completely new to this map. So I'm excited to see where the line goes. Of course, the center line for this map, the typical center line, is something like this. Maybe that's a bad line. Maybe more like that, right? Something along that line. Very, very right down the middle of this map. Usually this lane has a easier time pushing in, and then this lane does as well. Look at that. Hole cleaner. Wow, what a name. Has helpfully marked out for us exactly what I was just highlighting. We're going to get rid of your drawing hole cleaner, and we'll let you get back to business, doing whatever you got to do. Keep those holes clean. I like it. I like a man of cleanliness. It's very nice. For now, no scout craft have been sent out. I'm looking around for them right now. I guess we're still building our factories here. We see some blitzes pumped out here. I think I have a second to say thank you to everyone who has subscribed recently. We've got a nice little jump in subscribers recently. I think we just hit 669, which is quite nice. Just wanted to say thank you to everyone. Wanted to also say that I've been addicted to the statistics that come with all that. I'm definitely a bar graph player. A gamer. I like to look at charts and statistics and analytics, and YouTube has those in surplus. So I get to take quite a interesting look at a lot of the different information that YouTube provides for me. The one that I found the most interesting, I think I brought this up in the another video. I'm not sure which order these videos will come out in. Haven't decided yet. But I have another video where I mentioned this as well, but I'll mention it here again. But basically, it can tell me the demographics of who watches from all around the world, and there's quite a lot of people from all over the place watching. And I just wanted to say hello to you. You know, I hope me speaking in English isn't too much of a problem. I mean, if you're watching this, maybe there's subtitles or something that you're able to use. But we're happy to have you here. I'd love to hear from you in the comments, or at least have you put your emoji of your flag from wherever you're tuning in from. We'd love to see it down there in the comments. Also, if you're one of those people coming in from somewhere outside of the English-speaking parts of the world, or the predominantly English-speaking parts of the world, it would be a tremendous boon to me. It'd be extremely helpful if you would translate my message so that your friends tuning in from your country might also be able to put their flags down there. We can get lots of support rallied. I love to hear from you guys. I love to see you guys down in the comments, interact with you guys, and talk about this awesome game that we all love. And to Calmon, pushing up right alongside Swaglord. Cole lagging a little bit behind here. Looks like the commander just hasn't been rally to do quite enough, but there he goes, and he starts taking steps forward. And for the most part, no early game harassment actually managed to get through. This is the first rascal I've seen of the game, first scoutcraft. And it's pretty late. I don't think there's any gaps, any apparent gaps here. I guess you could sort of swing around this direction. Let me draw on the map there. Swing around through here. And you could end up in a base back here. I suppose that's one weak point that I'm seeing here. Laser turret guarding this area. I think that's quite nice. This is a bit of a choke point, so it's good to put a laser turret up there. Now this is interesting because this has changed a little bit. This, in the other map, it was almost like this whole mountain right here had been, like it wasn't there. So this whole opening used to be completely wide open. But I think this actually makes it quite nice because your player over here on the right-hand side can actually support this right here. And so what we end up with, or what I think we're going to end up with here, is something like this player contesting this, and then a player contesting here, maybe one or two players, and then a couple players contesting here, and then a couple players, or probably just two players contesting there. My guess is that's what we're probably going to see on this new version of the map. You know, somewhat typically. These lines might push or pull forward or backward as time goes on. But I think that's definitely going to be likely. I'm wondering if we're going to see any cheeky strategies here. It looks like we are teching upwards in the top left-hand corner here for the red-hand team. Are we teching upwards for anyone else? Yeah, it looks like we've got a T2 bot lab coming up here in the bottom left and the bottom right-hand side. A little bit dangerous to tech when you're in this position, the bottom right-hand side or the top left-hand side, because your teammate is exposed to a plethora of enemies with much more metal than them. Although that being said, I suppose I'm not sure how that lines up on this new map. You have to account for changes and such, whatnot. These rocks also lying around. I'd love to see some res bots going around and collecting all those. I think that might be important. For the most part, it looks like the lines are drawn. Alright, I'm going to speed this up a little bit so we can get you out of here in a timely manner. I respect your time, and I respect you all. So I want to keep this game on the edge of a knife, balancing it on what's interesting. You can see these T1 units mounting for an offense here, sort of probing the lines, trying to find some sort of weak point here. They don't find much, at least not yet. Man of War has pierced the defensive outer shell of Wildlife. His Wildlife is also under siege from missile trucks trying to fire at his turrets back there, his metal extractors. He does manage to throw a wall up in time, so it's very nice to see. Hopefully he gets out of there before he takes too much more damage. Missile trucks don't do a lot of damage. They do some. They are a direct fire unit though, so when they're aiming at something along the ground, they are going to hit these walls. It's actually well played by him. But some tanks are breaking down these walls. Artillery, of course, they don't care whatsoever. Now, pushing these tanks through this choke point is quite dangerous because a single D-gun, maybe a D-gun or two, can completely wipe those tanks off the face of this map, so that's going to be dangerous. We do see a gauntlet built up here, medium plasma battery, plasma artillery, as it might be called, and an agitator. Very nice. I wanted to take a look here. If we look at the damage, we have a burst of 650 versus the gauntlet is a burst of 600. So slightly more damage on the agitator than the gauntlet. I think that probably reflects the price too. 1250 versus, oh, well, it's gone now. Let's take a look here. Combat, yeah, 1300. So slightly more expensive, but you also get slightly more out of it. Max stock, a little bit of trouble here. His commander does go down. In a relatively rear position, though, so I think as long as he gets some units up there, it's going to be fine. Who was that? Alcanti? Yeah, Alcanti. Coming in from, is that Poland? Oh, that was another country that I saw had actually quite a big viewership, was Poland. Hello to everyone from all the way over there. Very, very lovely to see you here. Hope your day is going well. So we do see this commander lying here in the dirt. Hopefully that gets reclaimed by the blue team. They can turn that into a useful unit. We finally see some T2 units hitting the field. We have a gunslinger as well as some hounds coming up the left-hand side. Gunslinger is quite nice because they do regenerate, of course, so they can enter and exit combat on a dime, and then pull back, heal up to full, and they'll be quite fine. They do benefit from being in combat too. They learn using that experience mechanic, so they can definitely be put to quite devastating effect if you manage to get them in and out of combat pretty often. A lot of hounds being pumped out here. I don't hate that. The hounds are a very, very nice unit. Very good decision for a T2 unit, T2 bot, because they are so versatile. Commander goes down here for hot pink, named Cole. But the commander is relatively far back, so I think we'll probably see a reclaim on that sometime here or there. Centurion's trying to push forward here, but just coming under fire from one of these tanks. Centurions are a line fire unit, so they need to see whatever they're shooting at, whereas the tanks can arc their shots just a little bit. Don't actually have to aim at whatever they're shooting. Well, they don't have to have direct line of sight from their cannon to the target. I'm sure that makes sense. The Sheldon's here now, putting in quite a bit of work. Basically the same range as the Gauntlet here, so they managed to take it down relative ease. Easy beat, also taken down by a bunch of Tigers pushing through here. And we see the back and forth of Tech 2. What we're witnessing here is that there was a bit of a push from the blue team as the pink team stepped up to T2. And so the pink team got pushed back a little ways. That's why all these wrecks were over here, why infrastructure was destroyed, commanders went down. But now we're seeing the T2 army is out, and it's able to quickly push through these T1 defenses. And so the blue team is now going to be on the receiving side, and indeed we see pink now, well, losing a bunch of units to a single Tsar, but for the most part pushing a lot of these units back and breaking the front line. So that's kind of the push and pull that we see from T1 and T2 shifting around here. Banishers up here on the front line doing quite a lot of damage, sending their missiles out to destroy whatever they can. Those pack quite a punch. They're definitely one of the better units available to the Cortex faction. Good siege unit. Is that a nuke coming in? Slow down here. No anti-nuke here. Orange. It's wiped clean off the face of the map. Excellent nuke there. Marindis? Yeah, Marindis. We'll call him Mary. How about Mary? Hope that doesn't offend you too badly. As Swagward groups a huge grouping of artillery. Huge grouping of artillery. Interesting word choice. Coming out by yours truly. There's artillery pushing forward here against the bulwark. Slowly bursting it down. Their artillery fire. The bulwark does fall. And with it, strongest defense from Maddox. Some hounds moving forward here. They find the Tsar. But the Tsar also finds them. And it can do quite a lot of damage, especially when they're grouped up like this. It was two hounds down and two almost brought down. Just with a single blast there. The Tsar is not feeling very good. 19 health. Now, that's a lot of Tigers. We do need to respect that. That can definitely put on quite a bit of hurt. The commander is uncloaked here. We're going to D-gun? Come on. D-gun. Yes, there we go. Come on. A couple more. Ooh, okay. Commander goes down. A little bit of a APM stall there. Maybe didn't have the energy or whatever it was. But the commander does go down, and so Pink's Tigers are actually going to be able to continue pushing forward. Now there's a bull out here. The bull, quite good. Not a direct counter to these tanks, but more of a parallel unit, so same sort of role, although quite a bit more expensive. And with a few bulls, you should relatively easily be able to mop all this up, although you do have to control them. It's going to be very important here. Watch this tiny little battle here happen at regular speed. Oh, they do manage to get the T2 factory down. That's going to hurt. We're going to have to see a res bots come out here. Marauders. Looks like there's Marauders from blue. We're going to have to see some res bots come out here to resurrect this lab. Or we're just going to have to see it reclaimed and rebuilt. Either way works just fine. Speed this back up to 2x. So we take a look here. Quite the defense. We've got heavy laser turrets. We've got light laser turrets. We've got nettles or thistles rather, for anti-air. We've got the Dragon's Maws up here in front, and we've got some snipers pushing forward as well. So just about every defense you can hope to muster, then plop down here on this, rapidly moving outwards front line. Oh, the anti-nuke fires, but it was just a bit too slow. Luckily, that nuke retargeted the base that was already destroyed. I'm not sure what the point of that was. That was a bit of a bad targeting there. The Marauders now have relocated themselves all the way across the map and are going to be pushing them along the right-hand side of the map here. They're going to catch a reinforcing set of units. Ambassador, Tank, Starlight. A lot of good picks there. A lot of vulnerable units. Can send these Marauders all the way back. Yep, just keep marching them, keep marching them. They're quick. They're sturdy. Yep, get them all the way into the back line. Oh, no, don't go that way. Go back. Go backwards. Okay, well, you know, they scared Light Pink at the very least. Gonna be quite terrified by that show of force there. Sheldon's here, still working on tearing apart this front line, and I do love to see this actually, putting a tremor in a nice little spot here and having it rain down its little waterfall of death. Yeah, that is quite nice. We can see wherever this thing targets, artillery hell starts raining down from above. Yeah, definitely an epic unit for sure. Although I think they work a lot better in groups, so well, maybe that's true of every unit in this game, but they definitely work really well in groups when you can just deny a huge area of the map by spreading 2 or 3 of them out and having them rain down these artillery balls, devastating the land below. Quite a dangerous little contingent of units here from Red and Hot Pink. Moving a bunch of Tigers one direction and a bunch of Hounds in another. The Sniper's getting a few shots off. Take down a few of the Hounds. But it looks like a Commander going down there. Chokal. Titan is out though. That'll be definitely more than enough to mop up those units. More than they can handle. Tsar's pushing forward here. They find Swag Lord. Not paying attention. That Commander goes down. Luckily, not near anything super critical, so they don't destruct and ruin the entire base of somebody there. But it's unfortunate to lose your commander, nonetheless. You see Banishers and Tsars pushing forward on this right-hand flank. I suppose it's the left-hand flank here for Wildlife, but the right-hand flank for the southern team, the Blues. And we do see the tick spam coming out. The bane of FPS. I have to apologize because we all know that means FPS on this video is going to drop. You can blame Chuck and Brown, and as well as Hole Cleaner for lowering the available FPS of this video. The bitrate. Meanwhile, a Thor and a Titan have both hit the front line here, and I think that you have more than enough with those two. Definitely think we should start pushing forward. We've got the Bulls too. Yeah, don't worry about the units. We're not after the units. We're after the economies. Start moving those forward. Got another Titan hitting the battlefield soon. I think you've got the right idea. You just need to go. This is a problem. Is you don't have confidence in these T3 units. Trust me, guys. These are all but indestructible. We're talking about units designed to break the front lines and keep marching all the way into the enemy's economy structures. You have the ticks to locate any cloaked units like hidden commanders looking to degun your Titans, and you have the Thor for additional fire support. You have more than enough here, chucking around than you need to break through these lines. So definitely encourage, if you're a new player, to get to this T3 level and get these T3 units out. Start pushing them forward. At the very least, you know, the very worst case scenario, you can always just self-destruct them so your enemy doesn't get them. That'll be just fine. Titans bursting down these Shivas. The Shivas, of course, can be pumped out in much greater number, but the Titans are so much more durable, so much more metal in build-up there. One of these blitzes just sent to their death. Some T1 tanks. Not sure what the plan there was, what the purpose of that is. A lot of resbots here as well. I don't hate that. I think that's a good idea to build up some of these resbots on the front lines so that you can bring your T3 units back up and get them back into the fight as quickly as you can. You see Junos going down. I've seen the distinct EMP field plop down a few times here and there. That's a great idea. Now we do see some defensive tremors also laying down a lot of fire here, making sure that nothing can pass through this field, no ticks, no anything. But ironically, we're seeing it from both sides, so you know, we're both accomplishing nothing essentially. It's pretty funny. A lot of Shivas try to push forward here. They find the Titans, 3 bad brothers, guarding this area very nicely. And I think the longer we wait here, the more the red team is going to have to push you back. So I think pushing into these Titans is probably the best move, at least within range for their laser weapons to start working. I want to see them get some damage over time here. Use this Thor's paralyzing missile. We actually have been using the Thor's Paralyzing Missile. I love to see that. That's something that gets underutilized all the time, so huge kudos to the light blue player here for actually utilizing its effective abilities. Now, what are we building in terms of eco here? We've got, is that 5? Yeah, 5 advanced fusion reactors, 6 advanced fusion reactors, sorry. Oh, well, I guess that one's still building. So we'll call it 5, powering a bunch of these energy converters. We actually could spare a few more energy converters. You can see that we're overflowing here. Not bad though. I don't think that's too big of a problem. And this yellow team is going to have to, the red team, sorry, is going to have to come up with something interesting, some sort of comeback maneuver if they want to stay in this game, because their lines are slowly getting pushed forward. And I think they like the position here for the Blues quite a lot better. This side is a glaring weak point, as it always is. This is nothing to this player's discredit. It's just a factor of the way that this map is designed. But this right-hand side is always going to be a weak point for once enough T3 units are built up. There's just not enough that you can do, and not enough damage that you can put in this choke point to stop those units from pushing through. So I think what we need to see is a lot of units starting to take control of this upper area and start breaking this fortification. Like basically what we want to see is this, but for the other team, right? Because this is preventing those units from even getting in there. You need as much surface area as you can. This grunt spam is one way to burn down the Titan's laser beams. Pew, pew. Somebody once said that it sounded like Marge from The Simpsons. I have no idea where that came from or what they were talking about. I just don't watch a lot of Simpsons, but it doesn't seem like it to me. A lot of bulls and tigers resurrected and sent to the front lines. I think this is the big push that we were waiting for here. Yeah, look at all those units push forward. The Titans laying down the DACA, their missiles, their lasers, their blasters, everything they can, firing into the enemy here. I think we need to see these Titans target down these shield generators. Of course, those shield generators, they deflect plasma, but not missiles and not lasers and all of that good stuff. So, yeah, there we go. You see those brought down, and so the other units are a little bit more effective. Although, effective, but they're dead. So, not very, only so effective when you're lying in smoke in the ground there. Purple here with a nice little defense, but I think, yeah, this is the right time to eco up, absolutely. Your front line is pushed back a little bit, so you might as well spend that time upgrading your economy so that your next wave is even stronger. I think we need to switch these off. I think these need to switch to, or maybe not spam them in, start making a build-up of units, a big wave of units here, and then run them in all at once. I think it might be a bit more effective than just sending them in like this. Especially since, well, now we switch over to the ticks, which is a little nicer. Do we? The ticks are cute. Well, I must have had something else selected here. I see. This one is producing ticks. Interesting. So it's showing me a mix of them. It wasn't showing me all of them. Interesting. Let's see. We have Titan on Titan action here. This Titan's pretty hurt. Down to 7% health. Still 5,000 health. Not 7%. Quickly falling down as the other Titans blasted down there. So, this waterfall of death. Interestingly enough, we are running our own units into our own waterfall of artillery here. If I shift the camera, what is Shift and Alt and O? Shift and Control and O? Ah, there we go. We can see this from the altered perspective, the other way around. So now the red team is on the southern part and the blue team is on the northern part. I don't usually like to switch it up too much, just because we introduce the teams on one side and switching it up might confuse people. But just so we can take a little look here. See these Tremor putting in the work here, laying down these huge fields of fire. Quite interesting. See some Juggernaut wrecks up here. That's interesting. I wonder if we're trying to put Juggernaut on top of the mountains. The Armada faction has these bad boys, the Vanguard, which are a spider unit, all-terrain unit that can climb all over the place. Those would be really good to put up here because they're an artillery unit, right? So you can just siege from super, super far away. Looks like Titan's trying to push forward here. There's so many other Titans as well as Thors and other good stuff here. It'd be really difficult for that Titan to get any work done. Right, Let's shift it back to the other direction, just so we don't confuse anybody. And if you're joining us now, welcome to the game. This is All That Glitters version 2.0. Reintroduction for everybody. Oh no. No, that's not right. Yeah, here's the relative height of that there. You can see we don't have very many clear targets. You can see a little bit of a line straight through there. I wonder what that is over there. Let's see what they might be able to hit in that direction. There's that's interesting. Yeah, so there's like a single line of fire for this thing where it can hit like right here. Around here. It can actually slip shots through. That's it's not the most impressive field of fire that I've ever seen, but also you're never going to be harassed about this thing. Like, it'll go up with no contestation, just because it's that far back. Usually we see those things built out in the middle here, somewhere a little bit more effective. This looks like a dangerous army because it's a lot of units on the front lines here. A lot of this could die to AoE relatively quickly, so I don't think this is actually as imposing of a threat as it looks like. Nuke comes out here. Scuffs up a whole lot of these Titans pretty bad. Some of them are actually getting pretty low. Titans getting real low. Keep putting in the work. Bursting down these bulls, bursting down these artillery, bursting down these other Titans, of course. Best to keep the front lines safe. Trying to keep purple safe mostly. Who does now have a Juggernaut out, which is quite nice. 2 nukes now launched. Looks like that's our plan for this game. We're going for nuclear annihilation. It's a strategy I've been seeing more and more. I don't particularly care for it, but it does make for quite an interesting show. And I know you guys quite love the nukes, so I'm happy to cover them. I'm not sure exactly the ratio. This ratio always seems to change every time that this happens, or how many nukes you need to get past a anti-nuke field. I think it's roughly like 5 to 8, something like that. I think it depends on the distance. The further away the nukes launch from, the more time the anti-nuke has to launch, of course. So I think you depend on the distance a little bit, but also Armada nukes charge quite a bit faster than the Cortex nukes do. So it's much more relevant to build a lot of Armada nukes and send them all through, trying to sneak one of those through, than get a bunch of the heavy Cortex nukes through. There's a buzzing sound, so I wondered if it was from setting my glass down, so I'm going to try setting my drink over to the side here. Ah, delicioso. Boy, with a bunch of Titans breaking the front line here. Slow this down to 1x speed as these Titans walk through. They find the T3 factory here. They do manage to upset it. Bring it to the ground. How is this not game over? We've got the Titans in the back line. We've got T3 gantries falling left and right. Yeah, move these through. March them all the way down. Is this really 1x speed? This seems so slow. Oh, this Titan's getting bursted down by this Juggernaut. The Juggernaut gets its full effect from its shotgun hands because it's so close there. These Titans don't manage to make it through. I'm impressed. Good defense. Look at this shot. Look at that cinematic shot. Ooh. Double nuke comes down. Yeah, I gotta say, I do love the aesthetics of those nukes more than anything else. I love that they look so cool in this game as opposed to something like StarCraft where the nukes are very, very, very flashy, but they don't actually have a lot of substance behind them. A lot of resbots here trying to pick up the units left behind. The survivors. Surviving shells, anyway. But yeah, this is quickly becoming a very rapid roll. Or it's very rapidly becoming a steady roll, I should say. Trench warfare. Digging our heels in. Make sure that we don't give an inch. SARS putting in their best effort. Not quite enough to get crushed by the Titan. This Titan here, it's a scouting Titan. Very rare to see these. Usually they're too expensive to be considered scout craft, but this one has been given a good mission. been given a job. And these resbots are probably going to pick it back up eventually. Maybe not. They favor these tanks a little bit more. Two Juggernauts walking through here. Two Juggernauts walk into a bar. Yeah, I mean, they'll eventually be brought down by these other two Juggernauts, right? Like, it's an even matchup. Plus there's Titans as well. But the thing is, you don't need them to kill these Juggernauts. You need them to break all this defense. And when they die, they're definitely going to make it that far. And all that defense is going to go kaboom. So, you know, I think that's a valid option. Especially this weakened Juggernaut. Just send it in there. It'll explode. Self-destruct it. They do a huge explosion when they die. If I hold spacebar and then X, you can see this is their danger zone. All around that huge circle right there. They're like powered by a nuke. Which is probably not unrealistic. Nukes keep landing. Keep damaging these Titans here. Let's see what this side has to say. Looks like we are looking at some T2 walls coming up here. Oh my Jesus. Looks like the anti-nukes couldn't keep up and a nuke finally pierced this area, broke this defense. It's going to allow the salmon pink to spill out of this area. Presumably. There is still a bulwark here. And there is a behemoth. The barely mobile heavy turret. I love that name. Moving forward here. I mean, none of these T1 units are going to stand in its way. It's just going to wipe them out. It fires its go-away beam. It's a rare weapon that makes enemies in front of you go away. Yeah, look at every line that it fires. It's just... And whatever was there goes away. It won't matter how many units you put in front of this thing, it just keeps marching. It's gonna make it to these bulwarks. Looks like it takes about 2 shots for this thing to take down a bulwark. Not bad. Just had some of the air defense. I think you want to self-destruct it, though. I think you want to deny them access to this thing. You don't want them to be able to resurrect this and send it back at you. But it did do a pretty good job. Broke down some of that defense there. Commander brought back from the dead. You see a Ragnarok actually built here. Must have missed it. It doesn't have any actual strategic value. Not really. It's sort of target over here a little bit. Kind of target back in this direction. But there's a lot of plasma shields there, so that'll all get deflected. Can target over here. Oh, no, there's a mountain right there. So, yeah, we're looking at very limited targeting options here. Now we see the nuclear apocalypse starting. We have enough anti-nukes? We do not. Nukes slip through. They managed to find Mary's base down here in the bottom right-hand corner, who's going to have to rebuild. They're losing to nukes, yeah. You build enough of them. How many nukes was that, just for everyone's reference here? We're looking at 18 nukes to bypass 2 anti-nuke fields. So that's 9 per field. Looks like 2 nukes made it through, so almost exactly 9 per field. A little bit of a pause there. Very nice that the replays don't include those pause times. So I don't have to sit here and wait for those to go and then cut and bring you guys back. Now we now have a pretty substantial army here for the red team, and I think it can start moving forward, retaking some ground. Maybe they're scared of all these Titans over here, but really they don't have to be. What are we doing with this behemoth? Looks like we were resurrecting it, but it only got about 31% of the way done. We'll go back to that eventually. We're prioritizing the static defense. I suppose that's not a terrible idea. But we have a Juggernaut moving through, crushing the defenses here. Hot on the heels of this behemoth, who was the initial scout division, the first wave. Juggernaut's taking quite a lot of fire, a lot of gunships, a lot of dragons, all sorts of stuff. That thing's explosion wipes away most of that defense in one fell swoop. Some SARs wouldn't be bad, though these dragons and all those gunships are going to put in quite a number. Actually, the gunships were taken out by the explosion there, so there's not many of those left. Yeah, move the SARs in. It's a great idea. Anyway, we see units being flooded out by yellow now. Their own counter stream of units. And I think the blue team might have gotten complacent with the lead that they had. And indeed, they didn't eco up quite as hardly as they should have. Looks like we're just starting an advanced fusion reactor here for Easy Pete. We're way too late for that. Show call only on 3 fusion reactors. Yeah, three advanced fusion reactors, 2 regular fusion reactors, and we should definitely be seeing quite a lot more. I think the red team ecoed quite a bit harder, pulled themselves out of this pit. So kudos to them for that. Eco here for yellow, looking phenomenal. We're looking at let's get these out of here. These out of here. Trying to see yellow's economy only. Looks like 11 advanced fusion reactors, give or take. So there's a few more here for the other faction. Let's call that 13 fusion reactors. A lot of nukes trying to push through here, but it looks like the anti-nuke fields have been dispersed thoroughly enough. Now we've got good eco here coming up for the tan player, Decalman. I can pronounce it. This is interesting. We're seeing a bunch of T2 bot labs expand up. What the plan is with those. Dragon's being harassed now by anti-air vehicles. These Furies. Anti-air flak. Well, the hue those nukes cast. Kind of nuclear hue. Those dragons are not liking that flak one bit. We've already seen one go down. There's 2. But the grunts are doing an okay job of taking those down eventually. Just keep moving the Juggernaut forward. It may die, but it will go out with a bang. Rather large bang. There it goes. All those T2 factories go down the drain. A lot of the production here is down. Of course, we can see some res bots pumped out now. We'll also start cleaning up this area. I think it's a bad idea. This is quite a line of Titans we've got here, though. Titans like pawns. That's how many we've got here. Looks like Shokal has basically taken over this area back here. I don't hate it at all. I think that's not a bad idea. Not sure who was back here originally. Whoever it was, I think has probably resigned. Whoever this blue player was. I don't see him here. Unfortunate, because this is quite a banger. Go up in speed a little bit here. More units means the game slows down, so I have to keep increasing the speed to keep up with the slowing down of the game. Oh my god, look at those Juggernauts. That's let me have a look here. We're looking at like, so I'm trying not to get any other Juggernauts in the picture here. 9 Juggernauts total. Yeah. This wins the game. Like this is enough Juggernauts to win the game. Because it doesn't matter how many Juggernauts, how many Behemoths, how many whatever your enemy has. If you throw this many Juggernauts at any one point on the map, they're gonna eventually get there and blow it up. But no, we're not doing that. These Juggernauts are too precious, too valuable. Keep them all walking away. Like badasses. Look them go. The March of the Juggernauts. Wouldn't mind seeing a few of these, like 3 of them split off, walk all the way around here to the left-hand side and start marching in this direction. Like we're seeing yellow do right here. Or rather, green do right here. It's yellow who brought the Juggernaut back to defend. See this Juggernaut devastate the economy there, even though it was D-gunned. Still a huge explosion. So yeah, Salmon Pink is in quite a bit of trouble here. Working on building up that economy again from the back lines. Orange is going to have to cover for him. Maybe yellow. Somebody's going to have to cover for him here because the amount of units he actually has is pretty low. Now this front has just been stagnated for so long. There's only so much you can do. These Resbots trying their hardest to pick these Titans back up off the ground. They're so dense that you need tons and tons and tons of those Resbots, and they chain react every single time one of these explosions hits them. So they keep going down over and over again. Nukes hit this front line. A lot of construction turrets there. I think that was probably like a forward repair base. All these Titans are very clustered up, so you know a strike of 20 nukes is definitely going to do a lot of damage. I think the nukes do about 3% per hit. So that's a good chip off of these Juggernauts here. I wouldn't hate to see that. These Titans finally moving forward. They get the courage, the encouragement they need to move forward. They start pushing into enemy lines. See, every time one of them dies, it leaves a little explosion. So when they're all clumped up like that, you can chain react them pretty easily. So we need a lot of them to go down here. But it looks like even more of them are pushing forward here. They're trying to melt down this Juggernaut. It's a great idea. If they can burst it down from afar, it'll explode and take down everything over there. Yep, one Juggernaut down. Huge explosion radius. Love to see him go for this other one here. We see these Juggernauts returning for duty. Gotta spread them out. It's hard to spread Juggernauts out. They're so huge. They don't spread out very well. But yeah, move them out as big as you can. I love this. Getting a good concave here. Start focusing down one of these Juggernauts as well as you can. You get this one right in the middle. Every one of these that you explode is like a nuke right in the middle, so it's going to give your Juggernauts a nice little boost. Whoa! I think that was about 20 nukes landing right there. It's about every nuke that could be mustered on the map. And look at the size of that crater. Jesus. What a hole. Hole cleaner, living up to his name, cleaning out those holes. We got the Juggernauts here, taking a brutal beating. You can see that the ones over here are much more scuffed up because they are taking the AoE explosion. Their brother is falling, where these ones are suffering quite a bit less from the AoE detonation. Pulling these Juggernauts back, microing Juggernauts. Who would have seen? Who would have thought they could see that? One of the Juggernauts here does go down. These other ones are not feeling great, so they're going to fall back as well. Juggernaut's only on 4 health, 4% health, I should say. Love to see that being pushed in a little bit. These Juggernauts start to fall. Of course, it's risky bringing these Juggernauts back because somehow they get striked and they go up in smoke. They're going to be a huge detonation right in the middle of your base. I think that's what these construction turrets are for, is rebuilding these Juggernauts, repairing them, that's the word. Quite a difficult match, though. All those Titans went down. They're all left over here, but we need to see. We're eating them up. How's our metal? We are able to spend our metal. As long as we're spending the metal that we're eating, I don't think it's a problem at all. Interesting that we went for the amphibious construction vehicles, though. That has been a bit choice. Kind of curious. A lot of dead Titans and stuff over here, though. Yeah, we have the grave robbers coming up here. We're going to start piecing these bad boys back together. Very nice to see. 2 Juggernauts, as well as a whole contingent of Furies here. Very, very nice. Basically covers all your bases as far as threats to the Juggernauts go. The Juggernaut, the apex predator, only able to be devastated by the likeness of its kind. Wildlife here running for his life. These Juggernauts are lining up. Need to see them all in one spot. Now, these flak vehicles, they are a line-of-sight weapon, so if they get crammed next to something, they will fail to fire. They will collide with whatever you're shooting at. Yeah, these Juggernauts on the left-hand side. I think you push through this side here. Should have sent some units beforehand, though. Otherwise, that commander's gonna get you. Gotta learn from that mistake. Yeah, these Juggernauts, they've already gone too far, haven't they? Has called a vote. Yeah, the vote fails because, of course, we're seeing this to the bitter end. It's already gone too far. You see, oh goodness, those nukes go up. So many anti-nukes launched all at once. And a single nuke makes it through, devastates that whole area. Oh my goodness. nuclear destruction. These Juggernauts are mopped up. Looks like Wildlife's commander manages to preserve whatever was left over here. But all those nuke launchers, all those silos do manage to get taken out. So at the very least, that's going to be this thing the blue team has to deal with. Yellow still pumping out quite a bit of grunts, quite a few. A lot of three turrets for three bot labs, pumping out grunts one at a time. Very nice to see. Oh no, we've got some over here too. I was gonna say it looked like a bit more than 3 labs. Yeah, we've got 5 labs total, pumping out a bunch of these grunts. You see another Ragnarok in quite an excellent location. Take that, mountain. Yeah, suck it. Now we're targeting this mountain. Please choose your Ragnarok locations before you just put it down. Wow, now we're throwing dragons to their doom. Yeah, that was an expensive decision to move that many dragons in just to have them take down, I guess, 2 of these flat cannons. Yeah, that hurts pretty bad. You see a Calamity build. Wow, that was really quick. How many buildcraft do we have here? 315. I guess that'll do it. Now this Calamity is in a much better spot. I like this quite a bit more. It's up on top of this mountain, so you can actually aim it at stuff. Yeah, you can reach all the way to the back here, the very back line economy. I would be surprised if this wasn't what ended the game here. So where are we aiming at first? We're going to be trying to pierce these shields here. There's 4 of them, but I think you need like 8. Yeah, we're going to see these are basically going to deflect these plasma, or they're going to fail to deflect these plasma balls, and so these are going to start tearing apart this base over here. And those plasma deflectors go down, so now this area is exposed, much more exposed anyway. See a bunch of units grouped up here. This is actually what I was saying we should do earlier, is group up a ton of these units and then send them in one big wave. Sometimes they can be quite a bit more effective. Yeah, 2 nukes is going to cut it. We're gonna, yep, well, that might cut it. How many is that there? 11? Yeah, that'd probably do it. If you can find an area that's not covered by too many anti-nukes, you can probably get 11 nukes through. It always depends a little bit. Trying to see what the weak points for each team are. You can see that this the red team has come back from the brink of death and pushed all the way in, but they kept ecoing, whereas the blue team grew complacent. They stopped ecoing quite as hard, and they didn't develop their economy structures. They couldn't produce quite as much, and now they're suffering for that quite immensely. And so for that, the red team has an immense advantage. So it's 6x. Watch the yellow team begin to push in. Light pink here. A bruiser of an army composition. We've got the catapults, we've got the Juggernauts, we've got the Carcanets. Everything under the sun that you could hope for. Keeping it real. In this right-hand lane. Juggernaut's not looking so great. Down to 22%. Looks like this one's going in for the kill. Try and blow up as many of these units as he can on his way out. Well, scuffs up a few of them, but quite frankly, a lot of them survive. Shiva is also pushing through. Not the perfect counter to Titans per se, but, you know, more stuff beats less stuff, so why not? See a commander goes down here, probably trying to take out some Juggernauts or something. And it looks like Blue's nuclear factory is going to be taken down here. You do have to launch all the nukes one at a time. Ooh, the commander was just parked right in the middle of it. That's a bad decision. Great snipe here by the yellow player by Nauer. Excellent play there. Sniping that commander, wipes all those nukes off the face of the planet. I believe the nuclear explosion from the commander is an insta-kill. I think anything within a certain radius just dies immediately. I could be wrong about that. That might not be true for like Juggernauts and some of the ultra-heavy units, but I think it basically one-hits almost anything else. I do see a Titan pushing forward here with some lunkheads. And they get mopped up by the lasers of doom. The heat ray, the Krog heat ray. Yeah, these dragons being a real pain. They're doing damage, but more importantly, they're scouting for these calamities and Ragnaroks and whatnot to actually target this area, right? So now we actually know where the enemy is and we can start firing at them, which is quite nice. A lot of shield banks coming up here. I think the important thing is you always want to glance the shots off. You don't want to try and like directly deflect them. So you always want to skewer your shields. So not in a brick like this, but you want to put like one here, and one here, and one here, and one here, so that you're basically bouncing the shots back and forth. That's the most efficient way to deplete the energy of the shot without actually having to completely deflect it. And we are watching the right-hand side of the blue team crumble. Wiped out of this game. One slow push at a time. We see the Juggernauts here. Virtually unkillable. There's just so many. When you get this many Juggernauts pushed in, I mean, you need that many Juggernauts and then some to actually deal with that many Juggernauts, just because there's so many of them. They're so tough. We see the economy light up. Easy Pete's is now taken out of the game. A lot of this economy tends to be crammed together from all the different players. And when we see that, that usually means that one of them goes down, all of them go down. The remaining advanced fusion reactors do go off in a big puff of smoke. And the red team, with a turnaround victory on the new All That Glitters version 1.2. Version 2.0. 2.0, sorry. We'll take a quick look at the graphs here. But thank you very much for watching, and hope you have a lovely rest of your day.